Today's topic of the webinar is delayed happiness. We will talk about the reasons why we don't live in the moment happily, or why we are waiting for something, and what prevents us from realizing ourselves in the present moment and enjoying our life. Now I will briefly tell you about the method we're going to apply. It's an author's method where we work with the space of consciousness, and we can find there the information that makes our lives difficult, and we can do it purposefully, meaning if there are problems, there are their solutions. If you have a specific phobia, we can work with it. If your knee hurts, we can find the reason and also work with it. This becomes possible when we have an understanding of how our consciousness is arranged, about the layers of consciousness that surround our body at a distance up to 3 meters. That is, our boundaries are far beyond our body and clothes. And this information we can use for our development to become happier, more joyful, and to remove things that are the reason for any hidden emotional states, including anxiety, and to make ourselves and our life happier and more joyful. Let me demonstrate how it works. For example, someone at the moment, for no apparent reason, feels constant discomfort. You can observe for yourself. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you don't feel joy of a new day. Maybe you would like to sleep some more, or you constantly postpone this moment when you need to get up. And when you are not in good spirits in the morning, like you used to be, when there's no aspiration to do wonderful new things, I would like to choose someone who hasn't been to the demonstration at the school yet. Olga.
Hello. I'm rather nervous right now. You spoke about this topic that starts since today, and I almost cried. It's really about me. I don't know what it's connected with. Maybe it's because I have an autoimmune thyroid disease, maybe something else. But I feel like I live inside some kind of box. I'm 46 years old and I've never been married. I don't have children. I feel trapped in a Groundhog Day. I tend to think that something new is starting, that I'm going to do something new. I even begin doing it, but everything remains at the same stage. I don't know how to explain in detail.
I understand what you're saying, thank you. I'd like to ask you to broadcast your state of this morning. It's an indicator, you know. Let's try to understand where the root is. You're waking up. Imagine that you've just woken up and a new day begins. You think about your today's agenda. Let's see what is triggered by this. Good, that's enough. Thank you. It's a background emotion. What does it mean? This emotion is constantly with you. The situations that happened some time ago, 20, 30, 50 years ago, they are stored in a kind of an archive. And in certain circumstances, they are triggered by associative connections and come up to the surface. And on the other hand, there are those that are always with us. They are always present in the background. And for this reason, we don't even notice that they are active at present. Now we will give some time for this thing to open up a little, and there will be information about what exactly it is, what kind of emotion it is. "19 years ago,
So I was 20-something. Yes, I was 27. Mm-hmm. I guess what came up is two stories. I had a boyfriend. We lived together for 2 or 3 months. And it so happened that he had fallen ill. And because I loved him, I loaned him money for treatment, and he just up and disappeared. So I cried and suffered. And I think it's either this or it's when I was attacked one evening. As I opened the front door, I fought back and managed to close the door. They hit me in the head. And I called the police. It's the first story or the second?
It's the second story. There is such a thing called the loss of foundation. They hit you in the head, and it took the ground from under your feet. I mean, it took away your overall feeling of safety. You lost your foundation of safety. You now feel that something that dangerous can happen to you any moment. Well, we usually do understand in our mind that it's not true. For example, you live in a safe neighborhood where such things just don't happen. Nonetheless, your subconscious is always a little bit anxious now. So you wake up with this feeling in the state of insecurity. How do you feel this in your body right now?
I feel a little bit. There are some goosebumps. I feel something in my throat and my legs are trembling a little. I don't know how to explain this trembling in my body.
Well, it's a vegetative vascular reaction. You're going to smoothly come out of that shock state, and now is a working moment. You're partially living through that episode. So you may feel a bit anxious. It's a normal reaction. It tells us that we've found a substantial thing. The process is ongoing and it will take some time. I'm going to explain a bit what happened just now, how it is possible. It's not some kind of gift of vision or anything like that. It's a method you can learn. Anybody can learn it. People who come to us to study are capable of such things. Well, maybe not right away, and not that efficiently quickly, but by request they're able to find these surfacing stories in the space of consciousness. I mean, we haven't made up this story just now. We haven't just taken a random thing from the space of consciousness. It is a story that shows up every morning. It wakes up along with us and creates our mood. So our anticipation for a new day is a bit distorted by this loss of foundation. Listening to the response of your system is how I find these stories. I apply a method called monitor through my body. I see where it is exactly. Now it's in the area of epigastrium. It's pressed down, something like a lump, maybe you feel it too, in the area of the stomach and the duodenum. And then I find it in the space of consciousness. I mean, what we feel in the body is body response, and we don't need to do anything with it. It's like a reflection in a mirror. There's no point in doing any massages, stroking your stomach. It won't help. The root of this story is on the 6th layer of consciousness. This layer is responsible for emotional sphere, and there I'm now holding this story and using special tools. I'm working with it. So it's gradually losing its significance. In other words, we don't erase anything. You will still remember the situation, but it will no longer be important for your system. It will stop being a background presence.
Yes, I now feel how my stomach is relaxing. My chest still feels somewhat tight, but I feel goosebumps in the stomach, and it's relaxing.
There can be several such stories. The one we have found is the most prominent one. It's not possible to find all the stories at once, and I think it's good. If they manifested all at once, we wouldn't feel too well. But first, working through one story, then taking a break for at least several minutes. We can take another one to work with, and then another one. Somewhere about within 30-40 minutes, no more, because the work is very deep and we need to pace it. By working through 3 or 4 of such stories, you change considerably how you feel in everyday life. Of course, we can lay blame to some current situation we're living in right now. For example, I have some problems at work. My colleague is constantly triggering me, or something else, like I have mortgage. Of course, such problems have their influence, but for us to have energy to handle our issues so that we could find solutions, we need to have our energy resource, and the resource gets taken by such background emotions. Try and remember those days when you used to wake up cheerful and full of energy, ready to face the day. Then you went on with your day's agenda, and everything just went smoothly, and you were happy. But now you tend to wake up with some kind of heavy feeling, not that anything changed in this world, but you really feel like just sleeping some more. That is, you just want to run away from this reality. Such things are usually the background ones. They imperceptibly steal our happiness. How do you feel now?
I'm really relaxed. My legs and arms have been trembling. Now I feel calmer, my stomach has relaxed, and my chest also feels better.
Thank you. It was a good case.